Hello, welcome back to my garden. And it is one of the last few warm days that I think we're going to see for the rest of the year. I was just looking at the weather forecast for the next few days after Thanksgiving. This is filmed before Thanksgiving, and there's a freeze coming, big freeze. We're gonna like skip frosts. We're gonna go right to dead frozen in the next couple of days. And down here in eastern North Carolina, growing zone 8B, my ground doesn't freeze. But everything above the ground will wind up withering and dying that can't handle a freeze or a frost. And one of the things I like to do, which I've already done once before, I did it last year, so I'm going to do it this year, and you probably already guessed by the title, is save my peppers. So let's go grab a shovel, some gloves, a bucket, and start digging up peppers. Earlier this year, I had planted in this bed, which had some cherry tomatoes, it had basil in it, had a bunch of other stuff. There's something else important in here. I can't remember what it was. Doesn't matter. What does matter is I planted this sweet lunchbox pepper, and it actually looks like it has put on a few small peppers, but they haven't matured, nor are they going to. And once the freeze comes in the next couple of days, it will absolutely just decimate this plant. Because to the best of my knowledge, peppers are not frost hardy or freeze hardy. But I can save this plant, and since it already put on so much growth, I can put it in the greenhouse, and then it'll have a jump start for next year, and I can plant it out next year once the danger of frost and freeze is past. If you've grown peppers before, let me know this. If I'm wrong, right, crazy, in between. But peppers really don't start growing until the ground temperature gets to a certain temperature. It can't hurt the plant by planting it out, let's say in April after the danger of frost has passed, but it really won't start doing anything until probably June, maybe even July, depending upon the temperatures. Nonetheless, it's already put on so much growth and it has an extensive root system. So let me dig this guy up. We'll take it over to the greenhouse and I'll show you what we're gonna do next. Okay. Well, it does have a good root system. Smaller than I thought it would be. Has a few weeds here. Again, let's take it over to the greenhouse and I'll show you I'm going to process my pepper. Here we are back in the greenhouse in front of the potting bench. If I ever get my potting shed made up, I think what I'd really like to do is figure out or come up with some sort of YouTube filming rig setup that I could just attach a camera to a bracket, and this way I don't have to mess around with the tripod and have these weird angles of you guys outside and me inside. I'm babbling. Nonetheless, I have a small terracotta pot here which should suit our purposes perfectly fine. And I'm going to get my little pruners here. Where's my plant? Now I saw this a few years ago on YouTube because I had heard on another YouTube channel about saving your peppers or overwintering your peppers. And I thought, that's weird. But apparently a pepper is a perennial plant in the right conditions, in the right areas, i.e. South America, maybe Miami, but not here in eastern North Carolina, nor probably most of the rest of the country. So this is a neat idea. And I did do this last year to a couple of my pepper plants, and I planted them out, and this year they were abundant with peppers, more peppers than I could eat and or give away. But this plant was new this year. I think I started it from seed, and I think I did it directly out into the bed. So I just stuck a couple of seeds in the ground, and this is what came up, which is great. So apparently the first thing you're going to do is get rid of all that fruit, and you're going to reduce the plant in height. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it down to probably about there. I'm not 100%, I'm not an expert. Don't quote me on this. I'm going off memory. What I should have done is re-Googled how to do this. But essentially, this is what you're looking for. You're looking just for a stem, and theoretically, from this stem, as long as you have good roots, which I do right here, a whole new plant will jumpstart next year. There's not a lot of root here, so I'm putting it in this terracotta pot. And we're just gonna fill it up with some soil there. There we go. And that should be fine. I'll give it a water. So if you were doing this at home, from my understanding, since it's got no leaves and has no stems, you could turn around and put this into your garage now. Just keep the soil very slightly damp. You don't want the roots to dry out. But I'm going to leave it here in my greenhouse. I'll probably put it down on the floor. I feel okay with leaving this in here. Just watered it now, give it a good soak. I won't water it again until probably later next week or something. You just want to keep the roots from drying out, really. And I can plant this outside once it gets warm enough next year. And as always, don't forget to label your plant. But I have like 4 or 5 more, and I want to keep at least one of each variety. I don't want, because I grew so many peppers this year and there's more that we could use, and more that I could give away, I'm not going to keep all the different plants I have, but I do want to keep a couple of the different varieties I have. So let's go dig them up now. All right, so in the end, I wound up with an El Jefe jalapeno, a banana pepper, a red knight sweet pepper, and a lunchbox sweet pepper. So I've saved my peppers. Now the banana peppers, I think I had a total of 4. I only kept 1. As I said, I've grown too many this year, and a single plant is more than enough. It's more than enough for us here. If I ever change my mind, I can either grow more from seed that comes off of that plant, or I could buy more seed, that kind of thing. But I think the 4 pepper plants I have are a good variety. I don't eat peppers. My wife eats peppers. Friends and family do eat peppers. So I really kind of grow it for them. I also enjoy the experience and the challenge and the learning of how to take care of different plants, even ones I don't eat. If you've done something like this before, let me know in the comments. If you think I bodged something up, let me know in the comments. But I've saved my plants. Hopefully they survive to the springtime. Now they are in potting soil, and they don't need to be in potting soil at this point because they're sort of going to a dormant state, as it were. They're going to be super cold. They're not going to grow. As I said before, you're just going to keep the roots slightly moist during the course of the winter, just so as they don't dry out, but they're really not going to put on any growth. So they really don't need to be in potting soil. But once they start waking up, putting on that new growth, that's when they're going to need all those nutrients. They're going to just basically absorb everything that's in that soil, which is fine. That's why I plant them in the potting soil. And then hopefully after the frost, I'll plant them out at some point. My understanding is peppers like the ground really warm, and the ground really won't warm up here, even in Eastern North Carolina, growing zone 8B, probably until about June. So they won't really put on a lot of growth until that point. Once that hits, then it's gangbusters. Then they just love the summer heat. They love the humidity. They just grow like crazy, and they just keep on putting out peppers at an unbelievable rate. If you haven't checked all the links below, please check out the links below. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Click on the bell icon to be notified when I do post a new video, because there is so much more coming. Like I've said in previous videos, things just keep going right on through the winter. So I think that's going to wrap it up for today. I'm going to catch you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.